So I'd like to call to order the 1,174th regular meeting of the Board of Library Trustees. We're meeting in the Peninsula Center Library Community Room. It is August 21st, 2025, and 6:03 p.m. May I have a call to order?
A roll call?
Oh, yep. Hold on. May I have a roll call?
Madam President, I do apologize for the interruption, but before we do the formal roll call, may I provide some additional information on board attendance?
Yes, please.
Thank you. For the trustees' information, for the staff and any members of the public who might be watching, and for formal admittance into the board meetings, I'd like to acknowledge that Trustee Park has been absent for the past 3 meetings. One was a scheduled meeting, and for the last 2, he was prevented from attending due to sickness. Government Code 1770G does allow for 3 consecutive months of absence due to sickness, and we would like that formally noted in the meeting minutes tonight. I'd also like to acknowledge that tonight Trustee Park is joining the meeting remotely under Assembly Bill 2449's Just Cause provision. He is on the Zoom platform with full audio and video capabilities. Unfortunately, he is not able to be with us in person. AB 2449 does require the board to approve his request to attend remotely. So I would ask the board to please vote to allow Trustee Park's participation this evening. My recommended action would be that the Board of Library Trustees approves the remote attendance of Trustee Bob Park under the Just Cause provisions of AB 2449.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Is this a voting requirement?
Unfortunately, it is, yes. It does require a vote of the board to allow AB 2449 to be implemented.
Do we need a motion for this?
We do, yes.
Okay. So
Or you could just acknowledge my motion. That's fine too.
Okay, so we'll just acknowledge your motion. All in favor?
Somebody needs to make the motion.
I make a motion to acknowledge Director Addington's motion.
Perfect.
Okay. Can we have a vote?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful, thank you very much. AB 2449 does not require that Trustee Park's location be made publicly accessible to members of the public, but it does require him to acknowledge who is in the room with him. So at this point, Bob, I hope you don't mind if I use your first name. I would ask Trustee Park that if there are any other people in the room with you and who they are, you don't have to say their names, but just their relationship to you. Just 1 second, I think you're going to be unmuted. And go ahead, Trustee Park.
My son is here to help me with the computer.
Perfect, thank you very much. At this point, a roll call is appropriate, and you can continue with the meeting.
Thank you.
I have a question, though, under the vote that we just took for that AB 2449, do I put that he abstained or that he voted or no? I didn't hear a vote from Trustee Park.
He's
Supposed to vote.
I believe he's unmuting now.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
We can, Bob.
Yeah, here?
Yeah.
Do you, vote?
No, I was just going to say, the question posed to you now is, would you vote in favor of the motion that was made by Rosa to allow you to participate this evening?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we'll count that as a vote, and we can
Okay.
move on. Thank
So
you.
Can we now have a roll call,
Yes,
please?
thank you. Trustee Butler,
Here.
Trustee Easton,
Here.
Trustee Park,
Here
Trustee Uno,
or
and Trustee Wong.
online?
Madam President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join me in the salute to the flag.
Nothing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move that we adopt the agenda.
I have a motion from Trustee Wong to adopt the agenda for this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bob?
That's a thumbs up. Do we need a verbal?
I think we need a
I
verbal.
think we did. We need a verbal?
He's just on.
There you go.
You hear me now?
You
Yes?
can.
Okay. Unmute.
The,
Say
uh,
aye. Unmute, aye.
okay, thank you, Bob.
The motion carries.
I didn't make it.
Can I have the remarks from oh, they're my remarks. All right, President's remarks.
See you later.
So all PVLD library branches will be closed on Monday, 9/1, in observance of Labor Day. A special board meeting was held on August 4th, 2025 regarding the PVLD-PLFF joint agreement. There were no actions taken. I also want to state that I attended the PV Art Center annual meeting. And during that meeting, it was, I like to talk about times that we're out in the wild and we see the impact of the library on the community. And our librarian, Eve James, was recognized as being very instrumental in some programming that they have taking place in the library. So I wanted to acknowledge Eve's excellent work and make sure that she gets the recognition that she deserves. Then in July, the United for Libraries held their annual meeting virtually. And it was an excellent meeting. So the first day is trustees, the second day is friends, and the last day, and I may be mixing them up, but there were really excellent programs held during that. And, that's one of the events that we can take advantage of for a lot less money than we normally would. So I highly recommend it. And there was one program that a trustee talked about, and it was, why trustees get involved. And so she's doing a research project. And so if anyone's interested in participating in that research project, just let me know and I can give you the information to contact her. And the last thing I want to say is I do appreciate the staff's efforts to, get a handle on our attendance issues, and because we've had a few. I think this is the first time we've all been here, technically here, in a while. And so I do want to acknowledge the staff's effort in making sure that takes place. So thank you. Does anyone else have any comments or remarks? Oh, I forgot one other thing. Director Addington and I both attended the State of the City for RPV, and that was a really nice event. We learned a lot about, what's happening with the slide areas. Just a lot of excellent information was shared. So I wanted to share that meeting took place as well. now, if anyone else has anything to say. Okay. All right, so now we're on to item 6, communications and comments from the public concerning items not on the agenda. Do we have anything to address?
No, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. All right, the consent calendar. Does anyone want to remove anything from the consent calendar? No? Okay. So can I have a motion to approve this consent calendar?
I move we accept the consent calendar.
Okay, so I have a motion from trustee Wong to accept the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, Jennifer,
Go ahead, Bob.
I can hear you fine. I could barely hear, Kingston.
Oh, is it here?
Okay,
Is it
we'll
on?
make sure everybody gets a little closer to their mics.
Okay,
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, the closer you can pull your mic, the easier it is for the audience to hear.
Project.
All right. So we're on to item number 9. There were no items removed from the consent calendar. Upcoming Board of Library Trustees conferences and events. Director Addington.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Just a few that I'd like to remind the board about this evening. The first being on Saturday, 9/13, the City of Rolling Hills Estates will once again be holding their city celebration. This is at the Empty Saddle Club between the hours of 9 and 3. The library will have a table there. We'll be there all day. We're not asking anybody to table with us, but we certainly hope that you'll stop by if you have an opportunity to attend this event. As has been historic with this event, there will be an introduction of elected officials, a flag ceremony, a few speeches by the city leaders. Often we will see Assemblymember Muratsuchi or perhaps even Supervisor Hahn in attendance. So all the trustees are certainly welcome and invited to this event. The flag ceremony will be at 12, and typically the city's welcome speeches are right after that. In order to get there in time and get parking, it is advised to perhaps arrive around 11:45. Of course, we would encourage you to come a little early and maybe stop by the library table if you are so inclined. And typically there is cake, or at the very least cupcakes. So if the trustees are free, available, and able to attend, we would love to have you there. The second is a smaller but interesting event that happens at the Malaga Cove Library. They are once again, on that same day, they are participating in the Doors Open California Behind the Scenes in a Historic Library. This is an event that happens throughout California where participating libraries and agencies basically just hold a little bit of an open house. So we are promoted as being a partner member of this event. Anybody who comes to the Malaga Cove Library will be welcomed and offered a tour of the historic building. And it's just a way of promoting libraries, promoting archives, promoting California, and we will be participating as a passive ongoing event for the entirety of that day. The other thing I wanted to just remind everybody about is the Peninsula Chamber of Commerce Annual Legislative Forum and Luncheon. This event is on Friday, September 26th. It'll be at the Palos Verdes Golf Club. And at this point in time, Congressman Ted Lieu and Assemblymember Al Muratsuchi are both confirmed to be in attendance. I believe most everybody has already expressed an interest in attending, and the tickets were purchased first. I think we even got kudos today at a chamber luncheon for being one of the first groups to buy their tickets. And I said, well, we're going to give ourselves a little pat on the back for that. So that should be a really wonderful event. I'm looking forward to it. Those are the only 3 highlights this evening, and I'll end my report there.
Thank you.
Director Addington, may I add one
Yes.
thing to the first item of the city celebration for Rolling Hills Estates? The city has asked me to RSVP for all of you by September 2nd. So if you can let me know if you're going to attend by that date, I would appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Next is the summer reading update from our Young Readers Manager, Laura Henry.
Thank you for having me come here today. The summer reading program is one of the jewels that we present each year. It takes a quarter of our year to present and a full year of planning. So this is the second year that we have changed our method of planning. Now we plan it with interdepartmental cooperation. We have a team that is comprised from circulation, from the branches, and of course from Young Readers and Adult Services. So our plan for the second year was to have people join our program and read and learn and discover, count the minutes. They have been doing that throughout the summer. We add up everyone's minutes and we hope to reach 1 million. And this is a big thrill, especially for children who are contributing to something so big and important. We emphasize reading, of course, but also learning and discovery in summer. We have souvenirs that we give to people at landmarks. A souvenir, we say souvenir, not prize, because a souvenir helps you remember what a good time you have. So we're deliberate in using that term, but we also have prizes. We have our raffle at the end of summer, which we just held. And we conduct programs that emphasize reading, learning, and discovery as well. So the team this year that put it together was Evan Coates, Marissa Purley, Eve James, Eliza Curran-Schumann, Robert Bronstone, Amy Buchwald, Crystal Costa, Ketsi Diaz, Katrina Woodson, and Megan DeRazzo. So people from pretty much every public services program. And before I move on, we need to acknowledge facilities because they do all the heavy lifting all summer long, and there is a lot of it. So thanks to all of those participants who planned it. And of course, once the basic plans are in place, everyone in every department is busy and conducting all kinds of awesome things for our community. So our goals, as they were last year, is to read, learn, and discover as a community. We also hope that we address the traditional goal of summer reading, which is to help school children avoid that summer slide. A lot of children, if they don't read in summer, they unfortunately lose those skills they worked hard to attain during the school year. But children who read in summer can retain or often increase the skills. And I'm sure most teachers can tell who read during the summer and who didn't. We also want to increase our partnerships, and we were very successful that in this year. And then finally, we just want to increase awareness of this library's amazing programs and services. So I'm sure you all are wondering, did we make it to 1 million? Yes, we did. We made it in about 8 weeks. And actually, when we went over, the total number was 1,431,032 minutes. So we're very, very happy with that. How many people contributed to these numbers? We had 3,000 people join this year. That's a very good number. The way we count that is how many people made the effort to come and pick up a reading log or to join on our online application called Reader Zone. So that is very good numbers. We have some milestones that we hope people will reach, and that is when they get those souvenirs and they get the raffle tickets. So the first milestone is 500 minutes, and over 1,000 people read at least 500 minutes. And most of those who read 500 minutes went on and read at least 1,000 more. Another important thing in summer is that we have lots of great programs for people to attend in the library. And this year we offered 132 programs. That's just in 10 weeks. And we had 7,000 people attend. That is very good. Now, over half of that is our story time attendance. We have many people who love our story times, but we offered 34 teen and young readers attended programs, and almost 2,000 people attended those. And we offered 11 adult programs with almost 500 attending. And there were some really good ones this year. For the adults, they had something called Paint and Flow. So people got to express their creativity. They had author Kristen Harmel, who is the author of Forest of the Vanishing Stars, and that was very well attended. People loved her. They had a really great Spice Odyssey just last week about cloves. I can still smell it. And the teens, their favorite program was Anime Your Way, where we had a guest artist come and teach about the skills of creating animation. That is very popular among our teen crowd. For kids, we offered the most. We always do, because the children are at loose ends during the summer. And some of the most popular was the Science and Art program, where they created art, but it was based on science. They loved that. And this is one of my favorites, the Cat Mummies program, where we studied ancient Egypt, but part of that was making a little model of a cat mummy. And the other one that was really popular was candy DNA. So they were learning about DNA, but they used candy. So how do we assess our programs? Well, we do conduct surveys. We offered surveys after over half of our events for all ages. And then we do have a survey also still ongoing where people can give us their ideas and feedback over the program as a whole. We don't have the statistics from that survey, but we did get a compilation of what people said about our programs. I got the young readers ones, so I'm just going to share a couple of comments that I think are wonderful. One child said, "I liked building and being able to make whatever I want." This was at our Foiled Again program, where kids can make anything they want from foil and other household objects. I think this was an adult, another adult said, "I never knew the library could be so much fun." Thank you. That's a big thing. That's really what we want people to come away with. Okay, this was from the Cat Mummies program. I included it because I think it's funny. "I loved it, but next time, please bring a real cat mummy." So these are anonymous, so I cannot let that person know. I have no idea how to get a real cat mummy. It might be illegal anyway. This is another great one. It is an amazing way to make kids understand DNA structures. That was obviously candy DNA. And I'll finish with this last one. I felt
Can you
happy.
zoom me back a little bit?
I'm sorry? Okay. I felt happy because I went to the library. So that's what we're looking for. We want that year round, but if we get it in summer, especially by people who are not aware of everything I do, it's even better. So what's next? It just finished Saturday. So we're going to finish conducting that survey, analyze that data. Then our summer reading team will get together with me and Letty, and we'll talk about what we've learned for this year. And yeah, we have to start planning for next year, like right away. And I have space for any questions if anybody has any. Yeah, Keith?
You probably answered my first question. No cats were harmed in the making.
No cats were harmed.
But different people have different rates at which they read. So what is actually meant by minutes read? People read faster than others. So what is it, just duration of reading? Or
It's the amount of time they spend reading. So my dad loved to read, but he was very slow because he savored every word. And if he loved the sentence, he'd go back and read it again. So he might not read a lot of books, but if he read that sentence 4 times and it took a minute, that's 1 minute.
okay.
All right. Thank you so much for your report on the success of the summer reading program. It sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have the item 11, the facilities update from Facilities Manager Gutierrez.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy end-ish summer, even though it's starting to finally warm up. We, in facilities, we spent a lot of time this summer, getting ready for the school year upcoming. We have got a lot of students that come to all of our branches, and one project that we do just about every year is painting the study rooms, making sure that, Marilest's carpet was cleaned, the upholstery's done, a lot of the chairs are cleaned up, the deck is looking good on the outside, and doing some repairs in some areas that see a lot of student traffic. Well, there aren't many students around to minimize the impact for them. So we were able to get a portion of the Marilest deck that was rotting repaired. We also installed a drain in that area to mitigate that from happening again. When it was installed, there was a beam that was put very close to where the concrete was, so when water would pour onto it, it just wouldn't go anywhere and it would just rot the beam out. So those are some things that we kind of took care of. And we've been working along on some of the larger projects that we have here over at Peninsula Center, one of which is the second floor redesign. That will be a project that is about 6 weeks in duration. The kickoff date for that would be September 15th. Staff has been doing a great job taking our advice to get packing as soon as possible so that we have a slower trickle of things that we're getting out and moving around. And so I'd like to commend our staff and thank them for everything that they've thrown into it already as we start gearing up and getting a lot closer. The staff will be impacted. Most all the offices on the second floor will be touched by this project, since we are getting carpet for the first time since this building was reopened after the renovation on the second floor, as well as some new staff furniture in the main staff area for the cubicles, which we have had since this building opened as well. So we've got very good use out of the things that we had, and it is time to kind of revamp and redo that. And while staff will be impacted and they'll be taking maybe a couple of study rooms over here, the impact to the patrons won't be that great. There's a lot of schedules that we've worked out with staff so that we can keep everything forward on the patrons, and we're not going to be displacing the patrons, besides 2 study rooms during this renovation. We do have temporary workstations that we have planned out that we'll be setting up for staff, and just kind of moving through those. Second project is the Deep Valley entryway. Our ad hoc met. We had been waiting for a few weeks in order to get some pricing on what we were talking about for adding a retaining wall so that we could add potentially 20 more seats to that walkway, since the terrace side of that project ended up ending. And so once we got back the budgetary number for what that retaining wall would cost, according to what the engineers told us what it would be, we brought the ad hoc together and we kind of worked it out so that the feasible affordability of it, and decided to move forward with it. At this point, the plans are back with the engineering, and once the engineers are finished with doing their final touch-ups on that wall and everything else that it is changing, it is going to go back to the architect, and they're going to push it through the city and then take it to the county for permitting again. We're trying to do an amendment on our existing permit for that area because everything else was permitted already. That would save us a lot of time and a lot of resources, being able to do it that way. It just depends on if they decide if it's too much of a change or not, that they want it to be an independent permit, but we're pushing to try to get it to be an amendment instead. And right now, we're looking to start that in January. We feel like as long as things keep on clicking away at the pace that it's doing, that should be enough ample time for us to get all of our ducks in a row and get ready to get started on that project. So yeah, those are the big things that we've been doing, and then some of the little things that we've been repairing and taking care of, preparing for the school year.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay.
Oh, just one quick question. When do you think you will hear about the amendments to the approval
For permitting,
permitting?
I anticipate that'll be a few months out.
Few months?
Yeah, I think that probably around October. The engineers still have what they need to do, and then we've got to put it through the city after that. So once the engineers actually submit the drawings of the retaining wall to COSIN, Codes and Architecture needs to put that together in a packet, and then they have to get it through the city. I know, talking with the city and being out and about, the city really, really wants this project to move forward, so I doubt that it'll really cause much issues at Rolling Hills. But then after they have approved and give a stamp, and we'll go to county, and that might take a few weeks too, so
Thank you.
not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next is item 12, amendment to policy number 5020.4, behavior. Deputy Director Roy.
Thank you very much. As is noted in the memo in the board packet, we are proposing changes to this policy, which includes our code of conduct and the enforcement policies surrounding the code of conduct. And the changes are mainly to clarify that this applies to all persons that visit the library property and not just to patrons. The language was very patron-centric, and it raised some internal questions as to whether just this applied to people who are using the library, or does it apply to other people who are visiting, or maybe volunteering, or vendors, contractors, other people that are on the property. And we feel it very much does apply to all people on the property. So we wanted to take another look at the language inside of this policy and make sure that it reflected that. And while we did that, we took the opportunity to standardize some of the language in there. We have used the acronym PVLD more. This, I believe, makes it a little easier to read, especially since it's a document we try to post. We do have it posted at every one of our locations. We try to get it all in one page so that people can see it easily and not miss a few of the items at the bottom. So this will certainly help with that, and it just helps it be a little more consistent when we see it referring to premises or library. We can use PVLD and PVLD property a little more consistently there. So that's the changes that you'll see in there. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions about it, and we're just here to have this proposal approved by the board.
So I guess I'll start with a question. Number 2, instead of patrons, all visitors.
Yeah. So that's just another word that basically, to me, would indicate anyone who visits the property that's not the property owner. So if you're a visitor, you're basically not the Board of Trustees that is owner of this property, or the district that owns the property. It's just another word that we could use, all persons, if we wanted to put that there instead of visitors, if you liked it better, but
Yeah, to Ryan's point, we tried to stay consistent with that. You'll see that again used in number 6, where instead of patrons, we said visitors, because we just felt like, again, open to another suggestion, but felt like that sort of encompassed
yeah, a little wider than a patron.
anyone on the property.
Yeah, anybody who visits the property, basically.
So the reason I'm asking about it, people who are volunteers or staff,
Contractors, all of
do
that.
they see themselves
Are
as
they as a visitor?
visitors, or do they? So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think the way we would enforce it is the way that the overarching language at the very top, which basically says that any person on PVLD property. So that's pretty much what we mean by visitors. That's kind of defining who must observe the code of conduct. We could always change the word visitors to any person or all persons, something like that, all people. If that made the board feel a little better about the language. I do feel like that overarching statement at the top that says any person on PVLD property shall observe the following code of conduct kind of encapsulates anything that's kind of written under there.
I'm just asking.
I had the same thought in my head as we're searching for a good word that can, be another substitute for patron, but be a little more expansive to anyone who comes on the property.
So basically, what we're saying is that that first paragraph is effectively saying that anything that could be a synonym is basically covered.
I'm just wondering if it would be clearer, since we're all asking about this, is whether any visitor should be defined, or any person, including but not limited to, and actually list because you explain it in your memo,
Yeah.
which I thought was really clear, but then reading the document itself, since it's not part of,
Yeah, I think it's more clear to say any person on the property at
Yeah, I
all,
think so too.
bar none.
bar
So,
none.
yes. So
Okay.
if
So to
it
that
helps
point,
to
we could
change
change
visitor
to-
to any person,
Yeah,
then we can do that. So
Yeah,
I'm perfectly happy with the approval of the changes with the addition of, substituting the word visitor for any person, all people,
yeah.
language that mirrors what's at the top.
And by the way, this doesn't, because, I think that the
And
mere
Kingston,
fact-
could you speak a little more to your mic there?
Yeah, I think the mere fact that we're trying to ask question means that it is not clear. So the first question I just want to double check is basically, it's covering all persons who are stepping foot on the property, staff and non-staff. So the first thing is, we do have our policies and procedures. So everything in this doesn't conflict with policies, procedures, and MOU, right?
No.
No.
Okay. So then, yeah, I think that what we got to do is just simply say all persons, because that way it's very, very clear that it's not like we're distinguishing between staff, non-staff. We're just simply saying everybody that steps on foot, whether they be a patron, a volunteer, a contractor, just everybody universally.
And that'll be a very easy change to make.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments about that? Okay. Are there any other questions or comments about the changes to the policy? Okay,
Hearing none, the recommended action is that the Board of Library Trustees approves the proposed updates to the Palos Verdes Library District's policy number 5020.4 behavior with the noted additions of language instead of visitors, all
Okay.
persons.
so can I have a motion?
Real quick, is that addition or is that substituted language?
Substitution, we can call it substitution.
I make that motion.
Okay. So I have a motion to approve the policy as written with the noted addition, or changes.
Substitution.
Substitutions by trustee or Vice President Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I think we can call that an abstention.
Yeah.
Oh, he's raised his hand.
He's
You would have to
Can you
unmute yourself.
unmute yourself, Bob? Are you able to do that?
Because I do think we need to have a verbal. That's why we're required to have visual and verbal.
Can you hear me now?
We
Yes,
sure can.
Okay, I vote yes.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you.
So the motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Now we are on to approval of the 2026-2029 strategic plan. Deputy Director Roy.
Thank you. Again, as we noted in our memo, we brought to the trustees last month a very nearly completed draft of the 2026 to 2029 strategic plan. We did get some final feedback, comments, suggestions, which helped sharpen our draft as we polished it toward the final stage. And those suggestions included clarifying some of the terminology and components that we use in the plan, moving the organizational excellence priority to the forefront of our priorities, since that highlights how essential it is to the effective operations overall. And also to just reinforce the strategic plan as a document that stands on its own as a successor to our 2022 to 2025 strategic priorities. So I'll share my screen here and go through a little bit about what these changes look like in the document and have a quick review of the document itself. And let's see if I can make that a little bigger. we go. So scrolling through here, we have our director's message, which highlights that we are hitting our 100th anniversary during this period, and we can look forward to lots of celebrations and events around that, as we already have a committee working hard on all of the things that we're going to do for our 100th anniversary, and the board will hear a lot more about that as it draws near. But we highlight that in the director's message, and then we move into this slide, which is basically what you will see in this plan, and this helps with the terminology. So it kind of lets everybody who's reading this know that the plan covers the district's mission and vision statements, and then it highlights the 4 overarching strategic priorities that we have for this term. It also notes that in each strategic priority, it's accompanied by major objectives in bold and sample initiatives in bulleted lists. And the sample initiatives indicate some of the ways that the library staff and departments will work together to achieve the stated objectives. And so we'll look a little closer at that as we move forward. So we have our mission and vision. I can, but we'll have trouble coming back. Okay, one second here while I fix our audio. Okay. We have our mission and vision, which we have carried over from our last strategic principles. They resonated very highly with both our board, our staff, and our community, and we are continuing to strive for this vision of our community and continuing our mission. We have a slide here, as we mentioned last time, that highlights basically some of the statistics of the district and how successful we have been in engaging with our community. A slide about our process, how we formulated this plan. It's been over a year-long journey almost at this point, or getting close to a year. And then some of the results that we received from the surveys. And then we go into our strategic priorities, and the 4 of them are outlined in this slide. But as we move through the document, it goes in depth about what these priorities are. And here on this screen, you'll see one of the first changes that we've made is that this little icon here. We used to have these priorities numbered, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but they were not in any order. So as we've shifted toward finalizing this plan, we took those numbers out and added icons instead so that it wouldn't seem like they were listed in any kind of order. We've also moved organizational excellence up to the front, and that was one of the suggestions we got in the last meeting. And as you can see, what will happen in this slide is it explains what organizational excellence means to us. And then as we move through organizational excellence, we'll have these initiatives in bold, which was mentioned earlier, and the sample objectives that are listed as bullet points underneath. And as you can see, we have a couple of slides for each of these strategic priorities that you'll see in here, and each slide has its own objectives and its own bullet points with the sample initiatives. And you'll see that again for the strategic priority for access to information and community environments. And as we move through, you'll see slides with our objectives and slides and our bullet points, and then learning, inspiration, and imagination, and more objectives, more sample initiatives, and then inclusion and belonging. And we have the objectives and sample initiatives. And then at the end, we have our acknowledgements, just making sure that everybody in the community who participated in this is acknowledged. We had so many volunteers, community members contribute. The Board of Trustees had many conversations and a workshop on this. And of course, the library staff have been involved in this the entire process. And there's been many all-staff discussions, feedback, and then, of course, we have our strategic initiatives team, our strategic planning team, which is listed over here, who's been working on this throughout. So we are very, very pleased to present the finalized plan and appreciate all of the feedback we've gotten from the board and the community and the staff along the way, and open it up to any thoughts or questions as we close out this process and move forward into implementing, which I did mention, and I'll close this screen here for a second, just so I can get back to my board report, that our next phase in this process will be to workshop and present the plan with all of the staff We are working hard in our strategic initiatives team to create some tools for our department managers to engage with their teams and how they workshop and think through the strategic plans, priorities, and objectives. And then we'll be working with the staff on how they report that back to us, how we continue these discussions in our managers' meetings, and then ultimately how it gets reported back to the board. So that's something we're hard at work on right now. And we have a few months before the beginning of 2026 to really get all that in order and get the staff ready for a new phase in our strategic planning.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And, the first thing I want to say is I appreciate keeping the mission and the vision the same because, the last period is not enough time to
Yes.
to see all those changes implemented.
That's correct.
But the library staff had done a good job, implementing those changes and continuing them. I look forward to seeing more improvements
Absolutely.
or more success in implementing those changes.
Yes, indeed.
Does anyone else have any comments? Yeah.
Thank you, Deputy Director Roy and the entire staff for working on this. I remember a couple of months ago, and I apologize if I missed it at last month's meeting, but I remember we were talking about staff responses being incorporated. And when you talked about staff workshops now happening, I'm wondering how that process ended up being rolled out in terms of incorporating staff responses and whether there was feedback on some of the ideas and
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
oh yeah
it's been many meetings and just different steps throughout. Of course, it begins with like a staff survey and an introduction into what we're doing.
Yes.
Most recently, we presented the near final draft with the staff in our State of the District meeting, which was a
Okay.
few weeks ago. And didn't receive any major feedback. I think the staff have been such a part of it all the way along that they were seeing what they were expecting to see. And we're excited
Yeah.
to have it presented.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we kind of started off with right from the very beginning is we brought this plan when it was very much in its draft stage. Every week, we have a library managers meeting, and it includes all the library managers from all the library departments, and we meet every single Tuesday morning virtually. And we brought it to that department and went over like every element of it and asked those managers to take it back to their departments. And so at their own department meetings, circulation, adult services, children's, technical services, they all then reviewed it and sent us, the strategic planning team, pages of notes about what about this or what about that, or why did you say this? And one of the things I really appreciated about this staff was it wasn't even just change this word or we like this sentence better, but it was like, explain what you meant by this. So then we had to come back and say, okay, well, this is kind of what we thought we were getting to. And in conversation then with either that manager or maybe a representative from that department, we actually changed a number of them. And we realized, oh, we were kind of going in a different route. Or you have a particularly engaged, astute librarian who kind of went through everything and said, oh, you've got everything slightly off here, just the way you're phrasing it. And we're like, oh, that's an excellent point. And we changed that. So the feedback from the staff was really constant. And then like Deputy Director Roy said, we present a little State of the District, where we just give the whole staff, we invite the entire staff to come on a Friday morning and just give them a little update on the budget after the budget is approved and kind of where everything stands. And this was one of the things that we expressed to them. I think we even maybe held a separate one, didn't we? Or was it incorporated in that?
I think that was the
Then there was another
last
one, yeah.
touch outside of the managers meeting. That was the
Exactly.
last all staff.
Yeah. And we brought it up again and kind of went through every slide. So we've been getting a lot of feedback from the staff on literally like a grammatical level all the way up to a high level of conceptually why did you use this word? And that's been a really interesting process. So yeah, where we are now is something that the entire staff has been very engaged with.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. I do have one of those questions too. What do you mean by that? Community environments. I don't really understand, what that means. And so I went to the page and I still wasn't entirely clear. And I was wondering maybe you could explain what that means to you. Because reading it for the first time, it's not two words that I usually see together unless it is a library-specific term. So I was just wondering if you could explain that, community environments.
I think honestly, one of the things we tried to not use was a lot of library jargon. So community environment is not a library jargon term. It's not something that was like, oh, well, that secretly means this if you have an MLS, We really intentionally tried to not use that kind of language. For us, it just meant I'll speak for myself, and I'll absolutely allow Deputy Director Roy to chime in as well. But when we talked about access to information and community environments, we felt community environments were that like third place, that space where you could come as a community member and engage with the library. You could work a puzzle table. You could play cards. You could bring your children to a story time. You could rent a study room. You could engage in an art exhibit or perhaps a musical performance. You could rent the room we're in right now as a community group and engage with the library in a community environment, whether you're attending a program or going to a story time or just simply coming in and browsing the shelves. We wanted to really encourage that, that community aspect of our library spaces. So that's kind of where I was.
I think that's a great way to put it. I think we actually had this discussion about that wording in our meeting, and without community, just using the word environments, we didn't want to paint a picture of the trees outside or, a wall or a room. We wanted to paint a picture of a place where people came together and shared ideas and lifelong learning and fostered community and basically were able to meet with people, be together, and not just signify maybe an outdoor space or an empty room, but a living space, a place where people are learning and growing together.
So it's really space, community
It is
spaces.
yes, it's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the statements that we make is that PVL, these physical and online spaces, but in the community environment part, we were kind of really thinking about that physical space that's accessible and inclusive and welcoming, that you feel like you can come to this space and engage with other members of the community, and really encourage that community part of our physical environment. Because a lot of the other things are a little more, organizational excellence is a little more conceptual about the staff itself. When you think about learning and inspiration and imagination, it can also be rather heady. And yes, there's physicality in all of that, but it's also about creating sort of mental and spiritual and emotional opportunities. And inclusion and belonging, we wanted that to really resonate our internal belief that we are a place for everybody. But we wanted something that grounded us in the physicality of the space itself, of the building. So the community environment where you come and be together and learn together. And all these things take place in a community environment, even if it's downstairs on the second level, as Facilities Manager Gutierrez was talking about our complete redesign down there. Even that project we've been planning it and organizing it and looking at the cubicles and looking at the carpeting and looking at the designs and literally measuring out every single cubicle to see how big it's going to be and how much space every staff member is going to have. And that kind of also contributed to that idea of, even though it's a staff space, it's a community space, because we all share it. Everybody shares it.
So this is broader than space in your mind?
I think it's the connection between the broader and the physical and the actual, this room is a community environment. But it's also creating space for this room to engage with the community in a way that also furthers all of our other priorities. In an inclusive way, in an inspirational way, in a way that brings connection, in a way, we talk about being connecting and transforming and inspirational. These are all the things we can do, but we have a physical space to do it in. So we wanted to include an element of that somewhere in here. And that's how we rolled it in, was that access. Because ensuring that the access is not only to digital space or informational space or access to connections, access to information, but it's access to a physical space.
Yeah, and more there are online spaces coming into it. We talked about online environments, what those might look like, how we do have those. We're using one right now. And I do think that you see the word space a lot in reference to both physical and online in our initiatives and in the sample initiatives. So I do think that community environment is very much a combination of the different types of spaces and how they can be used by the public. Yeah.
Now that you explained it, I understand.
Thank you. We are happy to explain any of these to anybody.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions? Okay, so now I'm looking for a motion from someone to approve the strategic plan as presented.
I do have one other comment, sorry. And that is just, I don't want to highlight all of the wordsmithing. I didn't get a chance to have a physical, like one that I could maybe, it's PDF, and so, but there were some inconsistencies that I noticed in the use of the comma, for example, and since this is an outward-facing document, I just want to make sure that we have, that it's consistent throughout, and if that's okay.
I think for any punctuation you can submit to
Yeah,
us, it doesn't
absolutely.
substantially
That-
change
It
the
doesn't
meaning.
change the words.
Okay,
Yeah, we'd welcome
Thank you.
that. We welcome
Okay.
that.
Okay,
wonderful, that's it.
so again, can I have a motion to approve the strategic plan as presented?
I move to approve the strategic plan as presented.
Okay. I have a motion from trustee Quan,
Easton.
Easton?
Quan Easton, to approve the board, to approve the Palos Verdes Library District 2026-2029 strategic plan as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Bob?
Bob, are you able to unmute? Maybe not. I think we may have to move on.
Yeah, okay. The motion passes. Thank you. All right, now
Thank
we
you
are
all.
on to the Palos Verdes Library District and Peninsula Library Friends Foundation Joint Agreement Update.
It's a very long title for what
From
will be.
Director Addington.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I know, a long agenda item for actually a relatively quick update. I just wanted to let you all know that a little bit of history, the Board of Library Trustees and library staff had a robust discussion at the July board meeting about the joint agreement with the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation. And at this meeting, several of the trustees had questions that were of a slightly more legal matter and asked if they would have the opportunity to speak with our general counsel, Kevin Ennis of Richard Watson and Gershon. I was able to set up that special meeting for 2 weeks later. And so on Monday, August 4th, Kevin joined us at a special meeting and was able to have a conversation with the trustees just about their questions, maybe give his professional advice on some of the wording or some of the inclusions and what was there and what might not have, what worked and maybe he thought we should look on a little bit better. After getting some feedback from the board and listening to Kevin, I was able to work with Kevin over the next week, and we created an additional updated draft that incorporated some of the ideas from the trustees and then some ideas from Kevin and just how we kind of talked about what we kind of needed to focus on. So we did come up with a new draft. I was able to share that with President Uno on the 15th, and then on the 18th at my standing meeting with PLF President Susan Paul, I was able to present her with this updated draft, and we had a very productive conversation. I think she was very receptive to hearing the new ideas, what we were thinking, and I shared with her some of the concerns that our legal counsel had about, making sure that there was an indemnification clause, that there was an insurance clause. We were willing to change some things around here and there, but I think we had a really nice conversation about that. She was going to take that updated draft back to her executive board and of course to her legal counsel as well. But she felt very positive and was also hopeful that if we could kind of have a little bit of a back and forth, that we might be able to bring like an updated, potentially ready for approval to our September meeting. I did think that that might be a little aggressive, only just because it takes a little bit of time to kind of go back and forth. But we're hopeful. She's trying to pull her team together as quickly as possible. And whatever I get back from her, I will, of course, take back to Mr. Ennis from Richard Watson Gershon and kind of see if we can come up with another, good draft. And then that will come, of course, back to the board for review. So there's been good movement. There's been good conversations about it. And I do feel, fairly positive that we're getting close to an agreement. And hopeful that we'll have something in the next, month and a half.
Okay. All right. Any comments or questions? Okay. All right, thank you. Now, the district director's monthly report.
Thank you very much. So you should all have a copy of my July report. And just a couple of things I wanted to call out. I did highlight it a little bit with the Anime Your Way program that was presented by our artist Carlos Nito. I talked at length with some of the children's librarians and young adult librarians about this, and I was talking to Young Readers Manager Henry about it. They love that program. It's one of their most favorite because it's really about how to draw anime, how to illustrate anime, and anime is still just ridiculously popular right now. One of the, I think, top Billboard 100 songs is actually from a K-pop anime series right now. So it is, yes, it is literally one of the hugest things with teens right now. So when he comes and talks about illustrating anime, the kids just really, really love that. Right on the front page, some of the programs that we've hosted this last month were mindfulness drawing, creating clay magnets, the Love of Minhwa exhibit that was part of our Art in the Library series. And I think a lot of this, the crafts, the art, the exhibits, it really reinforces that, learning, inspiration, and imagination that was in our last strategic plan, and we've just adopted into our new strategic plan, because I think that concept of being a place for learning, for inspiration, for imagination, people look to the library for that. And I'm so pleased when I see the success of these programs because people seem to be really, really engaged with it and really going after it. Then you look at the children's programs, and we, without a doubt, are starting to see, 100, 120 attendance for our story times. Katrina Woodson, who's the assistant branch manager, she was a children's librarian here before she got that promotion role and went out to the branches. But she's re-engaged with doing the story times, and they just could not be more popular. I actually had one of the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation members, Ray Randall, stopped into my office the other day, and he came in for the sole purpose. He said, I was in the library, as I am almost every week. I was reading the paper, I was just doing my work, and I could hear this like dull roar of activity. And he said, and I walked around and I went over to the children's area, and he said, there must have been 150 people in the children's area. And I was like, oh, you saw story time. And he said, Jennifer, I just stood there and watched the kids. And he said, I didn't even know what story time they were doing, but there was like play stuff going on, and there were all the moms and all the stuff. And he put his hand out and he said, I just want to shake your hand because I know you don't always hear how good things are going. And I just want to tell you, that was amazing what I saw, and that's what a library should be. And of course, I thought, I'm going to share that with the board. But I thought it was really wonderful. And I, of course, thanked him. And I said, well, thank you, Ray. I really appreciate you coming in, literally for that reason only, just to say hi, to touch base, and say, I was at the library and the story time was amazing. But that's the kind of thing we're hearing from patrons and staff members and trustees, that when they come to the library, this is the experience that they have. And it's not just Peninsula Center, it's not just the 120 people here, but it's the people that go to Miralest, it's the kids that go to Malaga Cove. I highlighted a couple of the children from Miralest because here you've got this beautiful young girl who's writing her own book, right? She's writing her memoirs at like 6. So that's awesome, that's what we want to see. And not only are they doing that, but they're sharing it with the staff. They want you to see it. They want you to take a picture of it. They want to show it to the staff and say, look what I'm doing. And that's the kind of relationship that our staff are building. So I think it's really, really important. When we look at how many, cards we have, we've got a lot of library cards being created almost every single day. It's not 100 a day, but it's probably 21 a day. It's probably 20 or 30 every single day. And those, not to say there's not people dropping off too, but these are the people that are coming in and saying, I want to be a part of this organization. And I'm really, really happy with that. We're actively exploring Link Plus, a program being completely funded by the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation. But Circulation Manager Ketsi Diaz is taking the lead on that. And when that comes to fruition and is implemented and is available to the public, that will absolutely provide millions of additional titles. It's a very similar to an ILL program where if we don't have it, you'll automatically see it in our catalog and you can request it from another library. It's going to be a really great opportunity. I also just wanted to call out a lot of the wonderful work that the facilities department are doing. There's no doubt that every day Daniel walks into my office and alternately tells me something amazing that the guys have done on their own, where they, we had to close a bathroom, Jennifer, but we dug up all the tiles, we got down into that, we were able to replace this and do this, and we were able to bring it back to its glory, and we did it all on our own and we didn't have to outsource it. And then sometimes he comes in and tells me how much something's gonna cost, and we kind of commiserate amongst ourselves. But just the way that they are actively looking for opportunities to save money, to enhance our facilities, to brighten the facilities, to make them better for the patrons, but also just explore new and exciting ideas. We're not doing it right now, but we've been sort of contemplating like what a beehive might look like on library property, because I know a lot of libraries do programming around bees, and I know a library up in the Bay Area that has 3 hives on their roof, and they actually harvest honey, and they make library honey. Okay, I'm not saying we're gonna go there just yet, but we are talking about just ways that the library can be. I think books and reading and literature and entertainment, it's all paramount to what we do. But a library is always, and we've always said that, more than that. So ways to engage the community, engage our patrons in just exciting and new ways. Why can't we be the organization that does that? So we're always exploring really cool things like that. You know, in addition to that, our passport services are doing phenomenally. Even though we got a little bit of competition with people doing their own online renewals and whatnot, we've seen tons of passports being processed. We're making thousands of dollars in that. It really is the one big revenue generator for us, and it does very, very well. And I absolutely have to commend our very own executive assistant, Tammy Bender. She's one of our primary notaries here on the premises. And almost every day, she's like, I'm going to beat my record for next month is going to beat last month's, Jennifer. And I think this month is going to do it, isn't it, Tammy? So, but passports, notaries, proctoring, just another way that we're engaging with our community and trying to offer them as much as we possibly can.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
The passport agents processed a total of 553 passports. Is that month or that's year to date?
No, that's that month.
Oh, okay.
That's that month. Yeah, that they did that many in the month of July.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, that's very typical. And then the photographs, we can do anywhere from, 400 to 600 photos. And then the final thing I want to call out, which I always like to do because we are nothing if not for our staff, is our Staff Pay It Forward Award winner in July was Michelle Hubacek. Michelle works out at the branches and is just, as you can read here, the words that Tom had to say from her about her, a wonderful, wonderful employee, and we're very, very happy to have her. And I will leave it at that. Happy to answer any questions. Okay.
So let me just go ahead and say that, with some 2020 hindsight and a little bit of foresight, our staff really does do a fantastic job.
They do.
And I just think that I should mention the fact that in the early years when I first became a trustee, there was state legislation to lower the threshold in terms of farming out work, contracting out. It went down to like 10,000 and maybe even. And I think that we would go ahead and get a little snarky that it was just the trade unions trying to go ahead and force us to do more, work to prevailing wage organizations. Over the course of time, our folks actually we upgraded their skill sets, and we just brought all that work in-house. That work that we used to contract out, we just do it in-house.
We absolutely do as much as we can. I mean, one of the things that Facilities Manager Gutierrez has really supported amongst all the facilities technicians is getting those extra certificates. We have employees now that are skilled in electric and lighting, in HVAC, in plumbing, and are really making an effort to go to classes and get those certificates. They bought all the equipment they needed to do on-site welding. And Facilities Manager Gutierrez himself has been training the guys to we can fix these welds ourselves if we can make it ourselves. And yes, it's a money saver, but it's also an opportunity for our staff to increase their professional development, to be more skilled employees. We don't want to lose them, and to engage them in more creative, constructive ways. What they come up with how to fix, a plumbing issue or a heating issue, or how to fix the chairs, or how to refurnish the furniture. Saul Cerda, one of our employees, has just become quite the expert in refinishing and staining all the furniture at Malaga Cove. It looks absolutely beautiful when he's done with it. And yes, that would cost money, but it's not always about the money. It's about the pride of ownership that they take in the building and the pride that they see when they look at the Malaga Cove Library and know that we did all that lighting, we put in those, we could do it ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that.
It's really neat.
I think that our own staff is more responsive to our needs than outside contractors.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. They do a great job.
Right? Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Now we're on item 16, the ad hoc committee regarding alternate director compensation, Vice President Butler and Secretary Wong.
Vice President Butler and I have had a teleconference. We've made use of our knowledge resources of Will Liu and Sarah. We've also made use of Labor Council. And we are happy to report, we have nothing to report.
Okay.
But on the other hand, though, I don't know if you agree, perhaps we could go ahead and report and have a discussion in September, maybe?
Oh, yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Stay tuned. All right. Community Relations Committee report from Vice President Butler.
Just to share one experience, a couple of weeks ago, I was able to attend the California League of Cities annual installation dinner where our very own Rolling Hills Estates City Council member Britt Huff was installed as the new president of the LA division. So that was an exciting night. A lot of people from across the peninsula came out to celebrate her leadership at that organization. What they were doing. County Supervisor helped with the installation, and State Senator Allen also participated. So that was a nice community event that just happened recently. That's all I have. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Peninsula Library Friends Foundation report. I think there was not a meeting this month.
They were dark this month.
Okay, so I have nothing to report. All right, Government Relations Liaison Report, Trustee Easton.
Yes, I don't think there's anything directly impacting libraries, but of course, you probably heard about the California legislature and Governor Newsom signing in the redistricting initiative. And now it's up to voters to vote on that.
That's them.
I can hear them.
Do you have something to say, Trustee?
This is you. I unmuted you.
No,
Yeah, we're going to mute you, Bob. And if you need to speak, you can unmute yourself.
it's very hard to hear.
Okay, we'll speak up. We're almost done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so items for future agendas.
So at the moment, what we have on our September agenda is our audit report. We're fairly confident. I was just talking to Finance Manager Lou a couple days ago. We're fairly confident that we will have that for September. It often doesn't arrive until October, but we're feeling pretty confident about that. We'll have an ad hoc update from Vice President Butler and Secretary Wong. We'll also have, I'll have an update on the joint agreement. No matter where we are, I'll give you an update on that. And right now, that's all we have.
Okay. Does anyone want to add anything? No? I have a question.
Okay.
So last year, we had the art program, the library art program.
The annual community art show.
Yeah. Has the applications gone out for this one?
I believe they have, because I think that artwork, I will admit to be looking at the staff for a little bit of assistance with this, but I believe we're going to start gathering artwork on like, at the end of October. First week of November. So
Okay.
the applications, I believe, or at least the like requests for inclusion, I think they've already gone out, but I can double check on
Okay,
that.
yeah, because someone asked me about it, and
I
I
have
was
it up.
unfamiliar.
I have it up on our website. The application window opens September 2nd.
Okay, so
There you go.
it's opening, okay,
Yeah.
And then the application window will close September 27th.
okay,
And then there's you can see the dates online.
okay, perfect, thank you. All right, hold on just a second, my computer went to sleep. Okay, all right, so if there's no further information for the next agenda, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion from trustee Wong that we adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, oh, and
I know, I see Bob with his hand up. Bob, are you able to unmute? We see you voting, though.
You might just be able to hit the space bar and speak
Yep,
very briefly,
yep.
if you can do that.
Okay.
I do think
I think we'll go ahead.
Oh,
There he goes. He's unmuted at this point.
I vote aye.
He votes aye.
I vote
Okay.
aye. Perfect.
All
All
right. Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bob. Take care. The
Okay.
meeting's over.
Thank you.
All right. You take care, Bob.